So you're thinking of moving to Lakewood, Colorado. You've heard it's a great place to live, but you're really not sure about that. In this video, we're gonna go over the 5 pros and cons about living in Lakewood, Colorado, and we're gonna get to it right now. What's up everybody, this is Angel and I'm a real estate agent over here in Lakewood, Colorado. And first, let's jump into the map and I'm gonna show you exactly where Lakewood, Colorado is. We're looking at a map of Denver and Lakewood, Colorado is gonna be over here in this area. So downtown Denver is over here, whereas Lakewood, Colorado, it's gonna be over here in this area. And of course, it's not perfect. That's why I'm a real estate agent and not a painter, because clearly I can't do it. Depending where you are, it could be a 10-minute drive to downtown Denver, it could be 25. I would say for most people it's going to be in that 15 to 20 minute range, so relatively close to Denver. And that's one of the pros of living in Lakewood, Colorado, is that it's actually very close to downtown Denver, but you don't have the hustle of being inside of the city. Like for me, I live in Lakewood. I live in the downtown Lakewood area, where if I want to go to downtown Denver, it's going to take me 15 minutes. I have all of the amenities of living in a downtown area, being a walkable place, having all of the stores, the shops, the restaurants, all of the conveniences, but I don't live in one area where there is constant noise. It just kind of fits better my lifestyle. I have a dog, but of course it's going to be different for everybody and it's really going to depend on your goals. I just want to take a second to say I'm a real estate agent, and if you're thinking of moving to Lakewood, Colorado, you got to reach out to have a private one-on-one conversation where we're going to go over what you like and especially what you don't like, so that we can narrow down your search and find you the perfect place. All of the information's in the description below. Now back to the video. The second pro about living in Lakewood, Colorado is that Lakewood's going to give you more bang for your buck when it relates to housing prices. So I actually want to show you a few of the houses on the market right now, so that we're just going to compare a $750,000 home in Denver, Colorado versus a $750,000 home in Lakewood, Colorado. Let's check it out. So this is the Denver home for $750,000. This is a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom home, and let's just check out the inside. So the first things I see is it's a brick exterior, which that's very good. It's very durable. But as you can tell, this house, there's just not. So this house looks nice, but of course $750,000 is a lot of money. I mean, look at the AC unit in the kitchen. The stove, it's just not one of the more modern homes that we have at the moment. The washer and dryer, you know, I mean, I'm not gonna say it, but you guys know what I mean. Yeah, so that's a $750,000 home. And now when you come to Lakewood, Colorado, take a look at this. This is of course, it's not the greatest home. It's still a reasonable budget, but you have your garage. Once you enter the home, you can tell this has been well taken care of. It's remodeled, quartz countertops, stainless steel appliances, and you're missing a fridge. So maybe if you're moving into this house, maybe you gotta put your own fridge. No, I'm kidding. They're probably taking the pictures before the fridge arrived. This seems like it was just remodeled. You see nice chimney, very modern, very spacious as well. Whereas the other house was a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom home. Here you're looking at 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, double vanity. So this is one of the advantages of living along the suburbs instead of living in the main city. And of course, this was staged very nicely. And the other thing is that this house is sitting on 1/3 of an acre, whereas the other house literally had less than 5,000 square feet on the lot size. So it's just a huge difference when it comes to housing prices. In Lakewood, you're gonna get way more bang for your buck. Another pro of living in Lakewood, Colorado is going to be shopping. If you love shopping, you're going to love this area. There's a ton of areas to explore. There's the Colorado Mills Mall, which is one of the biggest malls in Denver. And every time I go, there's a lot of people there doing their shopping. So it's very popular. And it's not one of those malls that you go to and it's just fully empty and you're kind of like the only person there. I would say Colorado Mills Mall has that nice combination of like, hey, there is a lot of people that come and shop here, but it's not enough to make it annoying. But at the same time, it's not empty, whereas you feel like you're the only shopper there. Other areas for shopping is Belmar, which again, it's where I live. It's one of my favorite areas. Over here you have all kinds of stores. You have grocery stores, you have Best Buy, Nordstrom, Lululemon, you have tons of restaurants, Indian food, sushi, steakhouse, you have barbecue, really all the kinds of shopping that you ever need. It's going to be within walking distance of the Belmar area. And another area that's very popular for shopping is Union Square. So Union Square, it even has a diving shop, which every time I pass through it, I always think like, who's coming over here? But hey, they must have some clients or they're laundering money. I'm kidding. I'm not saying they're laundering money, but they must have some kind of revenue. Where that revenue is coming from, who knows? Another pro of living in Lakewood, Colorado, it's going to be that you're going to be closer to the mountains. And you might think like it doesn't really matter because you're willing to make the drive from downtown into the mountains. But I'm really talking about when you don't have the time and you live by Green Mountain, you can literally go out of your house and start walking up a mountain. It's just a different experience. You don't really need to plan it as much as if you were to live in Denver or other areas in the Denver metro area. And not only that, but if you're living that close to the mountains, you're typically gonna have some awesome views year round when it's snowing, when it's green, and when it's not so green. So those are the advantages of living closer to the mountains. Now, when it comes to parks and open spaces, Lakewood, Colorado, the reason I like it is because there is just a ton of little parks. Denver, on the other side, they have like bigger parks. They have Washington Park, Sloan's Lake, and City Park. Whereas Lakewood, if you go walking for a few blocks, you're gonna have a park right there. And many of these parks have lakes, and it's just nice to go and walk the dog. Just a different experience every time. And you don't really need to plan. If you're gonna go on a long run, you can just hit the trail. You can start connecting the trails, which is something I really enjoy when I'm going for longer runs or on the bike ride. Now, in addition to the mini parks that I'm talking about, we also have some bigger parks. We have Belmar Park, which has some huge lakes. There's events all the time. There's a concert series in the summer. Every Wednesday they bring a new artist, and they have like a little amphitheater where you can bring your own lawn chair and you enjoy the concert. You can even just sit on the grass. It's just a great experience. Your runs or your morning walk. And there's also some trails for horses, which I'm gonna get into this when I'm talking about the cons. And again, we also have Green Mountain, just a great atmosphere. If you live by Green Mountain, you can easily go on hikes when you're short for time. And I'm gonna say my very first mountain bike ride in Denver, Colorado was in Green Mountain, and I'm gonna say it was terrible. It was terrible because there's just a lot of hikers over here in this area. This is something I didn't experience where I lived before, and I'll never forget. It was the middle of November, and I just thought nobody was gonna be there. The weather was nice, and I thought, I'll go for like an hour, and it ended up being like an hour and a half, maybe more, just because I had to slow down for all of the hikers, which of course it's not their fault. It was mine. I just didn't anticipate as many hikers as there were. And I do know some awesome places where you can go mountain biking. Hit me up. I'm happy to share that with you. And in that bike ride, I remember seeing elk for the first time. So just an awesome experience. You get to go for your first mountain bike ride, the first time you see elk. Whereas, where I was living before, there's no wildlife. It was just a great experience overall. In addition to Green Mountain, we have Kendrick Lake. Kendrick Lake is a great neighborhood because there's many lakes around. So if you get tired of one, you can go to the others. And there's also a very big rec center over there if you like to do those kinds of activities. And there's also Bear Creek, which Bear Creek has two very big lakes where people go out there. They do kayaking, stand-up paddle boarding. There's also an archery field that if you practice archery, that's a great place to go practice. I think the entrance was like $10 to go into the park, and it gives you access to those amenities instead of going to an archery range. And a lot of people come cycling here, so just a great place for having all kinds of trails and activities. And as a bonus, Belmar is very walkable. I'm gonna argue that Belmar is the most walkable place in the Denver metro area, even more than downtown Denver. And I'm gonna say that because just within literally a few blocks, you're gonna have every single store. We have Target, we have a movie theater, Cinemark, we have some coffee shops, we have a bar, Whole Foods, Best Buy, we have Nordstrom Rack, we have restaurants, we have barbecue, we have Hobby Lobby. On the other side of Wadsworth, we also have a King Soopers, which in other places they call it Kroger. We have a Michaels, we have UPS, Cold Stone, and many banking institutions. We even have T-Mobile, and there is even a Home Depot on the other side of Alameda. So that's why I think this is the most walkable place in all of Denver, Colorado, because you get access to all of these areas literally within walking distance. And now, of course, Lakewood, like every city, has its cons, and some of these drive me crazy, but let's get into it. The number one con of living in Lakewood, Colorado is gonna be car theft. Denver and the metro area is the third city with the most car theft in all of the US. And I'm gonna tell you, I was a victim and I know at least 5 other victims. This is something that just happens. It kind of became common now, and they have all been different crimes. For some, it's just stealing the catalytic converter. Other people, they have stolen the whole car. Some other people that I know, they stole things from the inside of their car. But for me, they actually broke my window. They were messing with the ignition. They couldn't get the car to start. So I was lucky in that regard. But you know, now I'm dealing with the insurance, and now they don't want to pay, and they want to pay less than what the repair is going to be. And it just creates a huge headache that it's just completely unnecessary. And that's, in my opinion, the worst thing about living in Lakewood, Colorado is the car theft. Now, of course, I can complain all day, but that's not going to help you. I'm going to actually give you some tips on avoiding car theft in Lakewood, Colorado. The first one is don't have a Kia or a Hyundai. I actually found out after the event that Kias and Hyundais have something in the ignition, whereas you can turn it on with the USB cable. And there is literally a TikTok challenge where people are challenging other people to steal these cars and wreck them. I have no idea why people would do that, but it just kind of is what it is. But I will say, if you want to avoid that, don't have a Kia, don't have a Hyundai. Now, the second tip is have insurance. I've always have paid for cars. I'm not a flashy guy that is going to get into debt to have a car. And for the longest time, I didn't have comprehensive insurance in my car. And I'm going to tell you, I was lucky I had it at this time. I think I've had it for like the last 2 years. And I have been so lucky that this event happened while I was covered. And so I only have to take care of my deductible. But of course, fighting with the insurance company now to get the expenses paid, that's a different story. So if you're gonna keep a Kia or a Hyundai, definitely get better insurance. Third tip is add an alarm to your car, because of course those are gonna be deterrents if the car starts sounding, and they're probably gonna leave the area. Now, if possible, add a dash cam or add cameras to the outside of your house so that you can at least have something if something was to happen. I'm gonna tell you, the police basically doesn't do anything. They had me fill out a police report online, and it's been weeks and I haven't heard back. They haven't given me the official police report, and at this point, this is so common that the police doesn't even care about it anymore. And they don't even show up to the crime scene. I actually know someone, they stole his car. He found it himself 2.5 weeks later. When he found the car, he called the police. Of course, you don't really know what's going to be happening when you find a car. The police took 2.5 hours to show up to recover the guy's car. So just very inefficient. They don't really care about those cases. They're just so common here. The second con of living in Lakewood, Colorado is that it changes drastically. When living here, you can be in a $1 million house and it's right next to a $300,000 home. So houses in the same neighborhood are completely different. That's why if you're coming over here and moving to Lakewood, Colorado, you gotta reach out, because you don't want to make this mistake. You don't want to make the mistake of moving to the wrong area and actually hating your time in Denver, Colorado, instead of really enjoying living here. And this occurred because Lakewood wasn't really planned, so it just kind of kept growing and growing, but it wasn't really planned like these new communities are. But I would say you can really take advantage of this. there's some loan programs that are going to be serving some areas that allow for even 0% down options. And it depends on the area, but what if you could find an area that's right next to the good area and you get to go in with 0% down? You just pay closing costs. We can even have the seller pay for closing costs. You can buy a duplex and rent the other side. There's so many possibilities that you can exploit this area and live in an area that you're gonna love when living in Lakewood, Colorado. Now, the third con of living in Lakewood, Colorado is commuting and public transportation. The major employer in this area is the Denver Federal Center. It has over 6,000 employees. There's tons of agencies for the federal government that work in that area. But if you're not gonna work for the federal government in that area, you're really gonna have to commute. You're probably gonna have to go to DTC or downtown Denver, and I can tell you the morning traffic is gonna take your soul, at least for me. The thing with Lakewood and Denver in general and the Denver metro area is that it wasn't really built with the population that we have right now, and they really didn't plan the roads as much as other places. So going from one place, you could be traveling for 10 miles and it's going to take you 45 minutes. It's literally faster to go on a bike a lot of the times, and it can be very stressful every morning having to do that commute. Now, when it comes to public transportation, unless you live by the light rail, it's really not going to be a very efficient way of transportation, because taking the bus to the light rail, it's just a huge problem. You're probably better off taking your bike to the light rail and then taking the train. But that's not really a long-term solution, especially when it's snowing over here in Lakewood, Colorado. You're really gonna have to need a car when you're living in this area. Now, the fourth con about living in Lakewood, Colorado, and this one just drives me crazy: everything closes early. Most of the businesses in Lakewood are going to be closing at 9 or 10 p.m. There could be a little thing that you need at 10:30 and you're going to have to make a longer drive to get that done. And I would say this really depends where you're coming from, because from other cities that they're open year-round, 24/7. That's a very convenient way of living that you don't really appreciate until you move here and you need to go to Walgreens at 10:30 and it's closed. So you just have to make that longer drive into downtown Denver to do those late night errands. And lastly, Lakewood, Colorado doesn't have any nightlife. Of course, there's bars and breweries and that's basically it, but if you're looking to go dancing, go to a club, or my wife is from Colombia and we like to go dance salsa, for that we have to go to downtown Denver, and then we have to be thinking about taking an Uber or not drinking for the night. So it just adds that one more step of inconveniences about living in Lakewood, Colorado that you wouldn't really have if you were to live in Denver. Now with this, I'm gonna say my favorite bar in Lakewood, Colorado is called The Hangar. They actually have some remains of a plane on the outside, and in the inside they have a little bowling alley that it's not regulation, but you know, it's just a little place to play with friends. There's arcade games. It's a fun place to hang out. Now, Lakewood, Colorado might not be for you. I get it. Maybe you want to be even closer to the mountains. Maybe you want to live in a skyscraper. Whatever you want, it's all good. Our job with this channel is giving you an honest opinion of what's like living in Lakewood, Colorado and the surrounding areas, and actually showing you what these places look like instead of just reading about it. So right now, hit the subscribe button. We do videos every week. There are the most in-depth videos about living in Lakewood, Colorado and the surrounding areas. And also, drop a comment down below what areas you want to see next. Until next time, see you later.